Hi, let's take a look at yesterday. I did dip my toe in. A couple of plays I should have followed up on, really. Sevilla have been winning 1-0 recently at home, with Osasuna scoring first. There's a possibility of that equaliser. But they very poor against the top nine, with Osasuna being 8th. But that was one, I think, which escaped, particularly if you're using in-place stats as the reference guide, then that would have increased your confidence in Sevilla doing something. In fact, I was a little shocked to see the Osasuna lead, given it was quite emphatic in favour of Sevilla. Atalanta, well, put forward a 0-1 as a possibility. Could have laid the draw second half. Pretty much went to standard. And in hindsight, this is huge odds for a side second in the league against a Roma side just can't buy a win. Ranieri will be out on his Aris. Have to get a taxi with Pep to the job centre, I think. That 0-1, I thought that would be it. Roma have been losing 1-0 to the top three, so that was an obvious starting point. And it was also an indicator that Roma would be parking the bus, which indeed they did. 82nd minute, 89th minute, 0-2, just put a cherry on top. So play there, possible play there. Porto is still in play, but exactly as I predict, 2-0 or thereabouts. It's likely to be a win 2-0. Porto scoring 2 goals bare minimum. Didn't lay the draw second half because the draw odds were still relatively high. So I was playing the delay game. We got a goal in the 51st minute, which was far too early for me. Draw odds were a little bit too high. The only other options you have is to have faith in the pre-match odds. 1.18 suggests 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. Now we're on the cusp of that in the 80th minute. So those were the major plays yesterday. Ibar 1.65 looked very ropey on paper, but they got the win. Fenerbahce and Besiktas. I thought Besiktas got a late winner, but no. Hatayspor scored first here. Arguably could have taken on that Hatayspor lead. And I think Fenerbahce were okay. It went to 1-1 at half time, I believe. So you could have laid the draw second half. The market was giving you clues here, and there was no real value to be had at all. If you can bring on the likes of, let's have a look at who he's got. I don't know where he's getting these quality players from and why they're attracted to Turkey all of a sudden. El Nesri, solid goal machine. Fred, well, Fred is Fred, ex-Man United. Look who we've got on the bench, Saint-Maximin. You know, he can be a devastating player. Amrabat, for goodness sake, ex-Man United as well. Edin Dzeko, ex of Roma. So quite a few of the special ones, old colleagues. Very, very solid, Fenerbahce, and no value at all. They were 1.3 at half time, and the scoreline was only 1-1. Very little I could get out of that one. On to today, and I'll be up and about at I think 7:45, 7:30, Ipswich and Crystal Palace. Let's have a look at a few of these matches via the old school research methods. You can see I've got the Sevilla match up there, and you could have seen just that recent 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. So possibilities of getting that equaliser. 0. Well, they did score 2 against Sociedad. 1-0. So that would have been the spanner in the works there if they scored that second consecutive goal. But let's have a look at the Premier League using soccerstats.com. Ipswich Town and Crystal Palace. It's still all about Crystal Palace scoring 2 goals, isn't it? They're scoring 2 goals away from home quite regularly. And that could be enough today if they can refine that 2-goal habit. It's very sporadic, which is the problem. Ipswich Town, though, wins are very sporadic for them. What on earth happened against the Spuds? 1-1 against Manchester United suggested a little bit of fight, but that's the match which killed off Den Haag football genius. Lots of score draws at home, 4 in the last 5. Score draw will probably be best case scenario today. Score draws 3 in the last 4 for Crystal Palace as well. So the possibility that both teams to score is likely today. But look at Crystal Palace scoring 2 consecutive sets of 2 goals away from home, which gives us some promise. We did get the Crystal Palace equaliser against Newcastle as well, 90th minute Munoz. They showed very well in the in-play stats. Their problems, goal-scoring wise, are at home, but not so away. So I think Crystal Palace fans will be hopeful, but there's far too many score draws for both of these two. It does suggest both teams to score. You do normally tend to take on the newly promoted side, but look at where Crystal Palace are, bottom four. They've only played one of the bottom four. That was a 2-2. Played Leicester, that was a 2-2. So against the bottom five, both teams are scoring. Ipswich at home, competitive is what I take out of that. Score draws. Could keep things tight. 1-0, 1-1 conceded there. So it's going to be an interesting match. It's not a clear-cut match, is it, at all? Which Crystal Palace turns up? 2-goal-a-game Palace? Because if that Crystal Palace turns up, they'll have too much for the newly promoted Ipswich, which are highly likely to be going down. Watch out, Crystal Palace away from home, second half. 70% of goals conceded second half. Any nil-nils at half-time might be vulnerable second half. See 100% conversion rate there for Ipswich. 2 nil-nils at half-time away, none at full-time. So this is all about whether you fancy Crystal Palace scoring 2 goals away from home for the third consecutive away match. Far too many score draws here. No wonder it's 2.38. A totally non-committal market there. Leicester and West Ham. This is a messy affair as well. New manager syndrome for Leicester. So watch out for the managerial bounce. Ruud van Nistelrooy has absolutely no experience whatsoever, apart from sitting on his arse while Den Haag gets the sack. I'm not too sure. He doesn't have a track record, Ruud. But he'll fit in very well with Jamie Vardy, I would suggest. So we'll look on that with interest. It's a difficult one to unpack again. Let's have a look at the soccer stats and the challenge table, whether that can unpack an angle for this very difficult match. New managers got to be very careful because the previous form is thrown out the window now, isn't it? It's a clean slate. So we can't really take anything from any of these matches. We might see a sudden bounce under Van Nistelrooy. 1-2 against Chelsea, competitive, but it looked as if that was a 90th minute consolation for Leicester City there. Nottingham Forest, again, Chris Wood, the rear pain in the rear. Leicester City are throwing games away second half, you'll note. They're sometimes salvaging it second half. So we might see some second half action here today as well. 3 consecutive defeats, conceding heavily. That's an average of 3 goals conceded in the last 3 matches. Slight lowering of the quality of opponent. Man United, Chelsea, West Ham. Great result against Newcastle. That really, though, was out of the blue. Can it continue? 2 consecutive clean sheets. London derby, you're not going to really get any change out of a London derby. Form lines are thrown out the window. I wouldn't be too alarmed with that. But that Newcastle win, very, very impressive. Is that momentum? 2 clean sheets in the last 3. The Pettigoes West Ham, though, not showing any real pattern or consistency. It's a tough coupon. Really is. It's been a tough year just for that Champions League. We're looking at Leicester City against 14th and lower. They might be able to target something here today. They are unbeaten home and away against 13th and lower, but they are very, very lacking in goals at home. Where's that second goal? Both teams have scored in 5 of the last 6, suggesting Leicester might be gettable if scoring first. Away from home against 17th and lower, they're unbeaten. They are playing 14th, though. West Ham, they look very adept away from home against 8th and lower, don't they? They are unbeaten. Note those 2 0-2 wins against 11th and 17th. And a 4-goal haul at home against Ipswich. So challenge table is suggesting that these 2 teams will find fellow lower third sides to their liking. So that makes it doubly difficult in pinning your flag to one mast. Goals. 4 of 6 for Leicester have been scored second half. And for West Ham, again, vast majority of their goals been scored second half. Could be something to do with substitutions, a very quick response second half. 5 out of 7. So I would be looking to lay any 0-0 second half in the hope that we will see a competitive football. If we only had the 1-0, I think between all of this lot, Leicester will be keen to get some points under the new manager. So I would be looking, I think, Ruud van Nistelrooy, he's not going to be defending, is he? What he did at Man United was he got Marcus Rashford in a good headspace. If he can do that with Vardy et al., we might see something today. Mallorca and Barcelona. Well, this is all about whether Barcelona are over that hiccup midweek, which affected all of those Champions League sides. Feyenoord failed to score that second goal. PSG failed to score that second goal. Barcelona failed to score that second goal, but did get a goal disallowed, Ferran Torres, to make it 2-2, and we would have really cleaned up had that stood. A difficult match with Mallorca. Look where Mallorca are in the league. My old pals, Mallorca, I was following them when they were in the second tier. So this is no gimme for Barcelona, unless they're bouncing back from only a 3-day gap in their last match is the reason they probably lost to, I think it was Las Palmas. And also the manager rested a lot of the stars in the first half and paid the price. Going through a bit of a rough patch away. 2-2, 4-2 against Osasuna. So a bit wobbly. That surely would be targeted to end. But look at this Mallorca side. 2 consecutive wins, scoring 2+ goals. That was an excellent result. Very lucky. 90th minute winner for Mallorca. But against Valencia, thoroughly deserved. Coming from behind as well. At home, well, Atletico Madrid found it very, very difficult to beat them. Bilbao, you know how much I like Atletico Bilbao. And if they can't score. Clean sheet against Rayo Vallecano. Clean sheet against Sociedad, who were odds on the other day. Clean sheet against Sevilla. So 1-1 against Real Madrid. It's going to be a real tester for Barca today. Might get some second half action. We will see. We certainly got it last match. All 3 goals coming second half after a 0-0. Note these 0-0s. So it's a steady pattern for Mallorca. Lots of 0-0s at half time. Only failing to convert on the one there. So this is a form side meeting a side who's starting to wobble a little. Why? Because all of these Champions League sides cannot cope with this fixture list and the intensity of these new Champions League clashes. It's clearly affected Manchester City, all the rest. Aston Villa, look at them, the wheels have fallen off them. Barcelona, no win in 3. It's just a litany of mistakes. Red Bull Salzburg can't buy a win these days. This could be really telling though. Despite their excellent form so far, Mallorca, they haven't beaten a top 7 side. They haven't scored that second goal against a top 7 side. Suggesting, whilst they could keep a clean sheet, they're highly unlikely to score that second goal. If they do score first, certainly we've got to take insurance out on the 1-0 because that tends to be a habit. Barcelona, well, they're playing top 6. They lost to 7th and 9th. So, this is another tricky one to add to the roster. But I think I might take on a Mallorca lead here. Where's that second goal against the big boys? Lewandowski, he doesn't normally cock things up 2 matches in a row. So we might see a reaction to that Las Palmas loss. Playing another set of Islanders today, Barcelona. I would love to go to Mallorca to watch this one. It'd be a fascinating match to watch. Keep going to this stats feed, sorry. There we go, 2-0. Good call research-wise with the old school research. So we've looked at the main factors. We've also got a lot of English League 1, English League 2 tomorrow as well. So I'm committed to following these for you tomorrow. 7:45 start, 7:30 start for the Crystal Palace match. I've done all of the research for you. My initial gambits, though, will be on odds-on favourites. Let the market give you an initial fix and then use the in-play stats to confirm or otherwise. Got lots of odds on favourites. Lots and lots of research for tomorrow. So do dig in if you'd like. You could, if you're looking for over 2.5 goals, then have a quick look through these. Over 2.5 goals, Leicester and West Ham. Possibilities, but new manager syndrome for Leicester. Do be careful. So let's go to the overs again. Over 2.5 goals in the Crawley match. Likely given the attacking talent on both sides. Charlton Athletic and Crawley. Possibilities of overs there. Over 2.5 goals. Likely as Wycombe's away wins often feature high goal counts. That's Wycombe and Exeter. So this is a quick route to overs. It doesn't help when there's a side called Rovers. Unlikely, given Bristol Rovers' recent low-scoring game, so maybe one to avoid Leyton Orient and Bristol Rovers from a neutral perspective. Moving on to the next set of overs. Unlikely, Rotherham and Lincoln. So if you carry on like this, and if you want to look for first half goals, simple. This is for the other over 2.5 goal strategy. If it's 0-0 after 15 minutes in a match, we're expecting 2.5 goals in, but this says unlikely. So be careful. But there is a first half goal expected in the Huddersfield match. We go highly probable in the Reading match. Reading has scored before half-time in the last 4 home matches. Highly probable in the Newport and AFC Wimbledon match. So you might make a strategy out the first half goal. It's nice having these niche markets. So if you treat the first half as if it was a match all on its own, we're expecting at least a goal in these. So do delay 15 minutes. Try to get 15 minutes out of the market, particularly if this says overs as well. Then I would have a green light to have a go. But my favourite strategies are 0-0 at half time for an over 2.5 goal match. Unders expected in Cheltenham, Port Vale. So first half goal scoring, all of the research is there. I won't go through all of it for you. It's very detailed. But let's pick out 1 or 2 and do a little bit of old school work on them. So just at random, Grimsby and Accrington. Now, I pointed out a big win for Accrington the other week just by doing this. And would you spot it? Let's have a look. Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2. I think it's League 2 for Accrington Stanley. Or is it League 1? It's League 2. So let's have a look at this. And this is a good habit for you to get into. If you want to target a match, make sure you do the Soccer Stats route. You've got all the matches in time order. Got recent form, over 2.5 goals, clean sheet, failed to score. We've got Accrington scoring 2+ goals. That's the one I called. 4.35 odds. Brilliant. Accrington in exceptional form. Only 1 loss since the 5th of October. Grimsby, it's a bit grim. 4 consecutive home defeats, 5 in the last 6. Really, Accrington have the form in the book to do something today. And if they light up the in-play stats, look at their recent form, unbeaten, and have a go. No draw in 8 at home for Grimsby. If that continues, lay any late draw. Work your way down. 9th against 19th. I wouldn't be put off by the league position. Look at this. Against 7th away, 2-2. Against 8th away, 0-3 win. Against 11th away, a 1-2 win. Playing 9th today. I don't think they'll be panicking at all. Add into the fact that these have come in that recent unbeaten run. So you could be favouring a good performance yet again from Accrington. Those of you with a neutral head on, given the league, it's a League 2, over 2.5 goals looks pretty good, doesn't it? But it's been very tight for Grimsby against strugglers. Either side of Accrington, it's either been 0-1 or 1-0. But I do like Accrington's recent goal scoring. The general tendency towards over 2.5 goals for Grimsby as well, albeit against the top 14. But starting to get a bit shy against 18th to 21st. The general over 2.5 goals, 75% at home. 88% away. That's a good, solid percentage for both teams. Accrington's momentum should assure goals as well, scoring 2 goals for fun. Very vulnerable second half, Grimsby, particularly the last 15 minutes. If they're leading coming up to the 75th minute, you might want to pay attention. Similarly, for Accrington, though, 9 goals conceded in the last half hour. We might get some late action here. So if it's 0-0 coming up to the 60th minute, I would look to lay that 0-0. Second half is where Accrington really come alive away from home, both in an attacking and a conceding perspective, 75%. So I would be hopeful today. I wouldn't be looking for a 0-0. No draw at home for Grimsby. No 0-0 away for Accrington. I'll be looking at possibility of over 2.5 goals and the possibility of 2 goals scored by Accrington for the 4th consecutive match. Do note this, exceptional form apart from just the 1 defeat since the 5th of October. In stark contrast to 4 consecutive defeats. Note that 0-1. That's coming against a side near Accrington in the league. So, fascinating match. My absolute ideal, of course, is to do all of these in that kind of format. I'll be on hand for you, 7:45. I do like high volume matches kicking off at the same time. And let me just remind you of this lot. Were you up and about yesterday at 1 p.m? I made it as clear as day. What do you want me to do? Print T-shirts? Professional Development League over 2.5 goals. I might even open a Professional Development League hedge fund, because this could be the way to riches. Let's see if we can find the Professional Development League. Well, we're going all the way back to we want to have a look at today and at 1 o'clock. So please, please, please have this on your roster if you're interested in neutral trading. The Professional Development League. Not every match will be over 2.5 goals. That would just be folly. But boom, 5, 7, 5, 4. That's today's lot. Okay. You have been warned. You could put them in an accumulator if you wanted to, because a lot of these goals come very early, which scuppers my plans of delaying in order to create value. 3rd minute, for example. So you could put this lot over 2.5 goal accumulator. See if you can get some. There we go, 9th minute. So you have to be on your guard here. They're great for overs. They're great for goals. But if you're delaying to try to get some value, because the odds for overs here are likely to be skinnier than Victoria Beckham, I would suggest. Over and under 2.5, 1.28. That's why I would look at 15 minutes. That would get that up to about 1.5, 1.6. So it's an excellent league for overs, but it's just about whether you can create value in the overs. This is more like it. 0-0 after 15 minutes. You back overs. Get out after the first goal if you want to. That's my preferred route. I don't want to be looking for 3 goals when I'm backing over 2.5 goals. I want just the 1 goal. I want it even more if I'm backing over 1.5 goals, 1.29 as you can see there. So it's factored in, 74% over 2.5 goals. We're going to have the same tomorrow, Professional Development League. So keep an eye on that. I'll be up and around 7:30 onwards. Got a round of golf tomorrow, so I'm doing the video the evening before. Have a great day, and I hope we'll get some profitable trades in English League 1, English League 2. There is no excuses for that lot. They're not involved in the Champions League, Europa League or Europa Conference League. In-play stats have been working okay, so I remain hopeful we'll get a play. But this is a nice puzzler, isn't it? I wouldn't have seen them conceding 2 goals against Las Palmas, so you've got to be careful with Mallorca winning 2-0 recently. New manager as well, 2 goals, question mark. That could be a bit of value at the end of the day. Lots of score draws with these 2 as well. So some interesting angles. And before I start tomorrow, I'll go through this research and pick out any good neutral angles. We want to see if we can get some decent overs. Can we actually formulate our over 2.5 goal picks based on the pre-match odds, perhaps? Is that a quick route, like we do with the match odds? 1.67, as you can see, stark contrast to the 1.29, but the lower the better if you're looking to shortlist over 2.5 goals. Soccer 24, over under, scroll down to 2.5, and again, it'll just give you an idea of what the market thinks. This is getting a little bit too nearer to evens Stevens, isn't it? So non-committal there. I would be looking at something like 1.4, 1.3 as an initial possibility for over 2.5 goals. Because this lot have all done their work, haven't they? This looks more like it, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. It was short back down here. 1.5 goals at 1.3. But 2.5 goals scurried up to over even. So that might not be a good candidate. So I would do that tomorrow, and I'll come up with a list that I can prepare for tomorrow's live stream. I'll see you. I'll be at home. I'll see you for the duration. It's great to be able to do these evening sessions without having to stay up till stupid o'clock. I only wish I could afford to live in Guernsey, but the average house price is £600,000. Average house. We're talking a very, very average house as well. We're not talking mansions here. We're talking just a normal house, which would 600,000 in Thailand. We're talking I would own my own private island. Blimey. It's a beautiful island, this, but it's for the rich. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow from 7:30 onwards for a live, not a live stream, might be a live stream. You never know. I might just pop on. I could do a live stream on Telegram, so I might pop on. I think we could do a live stream, so I might pop on for members. If I can find it, there we go, start a live stream. So that might be a bit of fun tomorrow. So get yourselves on Telegram. If not, I might just do an impromptu YouTube and let you know where it is, because I would like to talk you through my thought processes as well, because that's a great way for you to learn. Lots of English football, should be very interesting indeed. AFC Champions League, if you're up early enough, got a lot of odds on. A lot of familiar names, particularly in my part of the world. Buriram, Thailand. Some of these can be interesting, but liquidity would be the issue. Have a great day. I'm going to play St Pierre Park tomorrow. 9 holes with a world judo champion. So, of course, he's already won the game. I'm not that daft. Have a great day.